I came to the States in 2004. That was the first time I came to the States. I was living in Florida at that point of time. I was driving one day. There was this car in front of me. Had a really interesting bumper sticker. It said, "Honk if you love Jesus. Text and drive if you want to meet him." 5 seconds is the average amount of time it takes for a person, for a driver to respond to a text. At 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel a distance of 400 feet. That's equivalent of driving blindfolded for more than the length of a football field. Texting and driving is becoming more and more of a common occurrence. And it's just not texting and driving, it's all forms of distracted driving. But what really is distracted driving? Jasmine, what is distracted driving to you?
Anything that takes your attention away from the main event, which is what you're doing driving.
I was going to ask 2 more people, but she gave the exact answer, so I don't need anything. Distracted driving, as Jasmine said, is anything that would take your focus away from the main task of driving. It can include things such as texting, talking in the cell phone, eating, smoking, disciplining your child, like Shannon does, adjusting your radio, adjusting your temperature, anything that takes your attention away from the main task of driving. Now, transportation engineers classify distracted driving into 3 categories. Visual, which is taking your visual focus away from the task of driving, like looking at that hot chick on the sidewalk. Manual takes your physical focus away from the task of driving, waving at that hot chick on the sidewalk. And cognitive, taking your mental focus away from the task of driving, like thinking how stupid it is that you're going 55 miles an hour in a 3,000-pound car and you're smiling and waving at that hot chick on the sidewalk. Of these 3, you'd be interested to know texting and driving causes all 3 cognitive distractions. Manual because you have to get the phone, visual because you have to look at the phone, and cognitive because you have to respond to your wife who's bugging you over dinner. Now, I'm here and you've already guessed that I'm going to talk about texting and driving. And you have to listen to me for the next 7 minutes. But is texting and driving really that bad? So the NTSB did a survey. They asked drivers between the ages of 21 and 34, what do you think about texting and driving? And about 30%, almost a third of them said that texting and driving has no impact. A third of the people between the ages of 18 and 64 have admitted to using cell phones for reading or writing text while driving. Now, if this many people are doing it, it can't be harmful, right? I mean, come on. A third of the people texting and driving? Well, they are wrong. Texting and driving is one of the most dangerous things that you can do while driving. It is one of the most dangerous forms of distracted driving. Texting and driving is responsible for 1 in 4 accidents. Texting and driving is 6 times, hear me clearly, 6 times more likely to cause an accident than drunk driving. Texting and driving is 23 times more likely to cause an accident than just regular driving. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2.5 million crashes every year in the States, and 1.6 million of those are caused by cell phone usage. So what do we do about this? Now we know texting and driving is dangerous. What do we do? Pass laws, right? That seems to be the simple solution. Well, 46 out of the 50 states have laws banning texting and driving. President Obama in 2009 passed an executive order that forbids federal employees from texting and driving while they're on their job or while they're using federal equipment. There are various federal agencies that have banned cell phone usage, texting and driving while operating while towing hazardous material, operating heavy machinery, commercial vehicles, trains, etc. And you would think with all of this, it would have some impact. Maybe it did. The Highway Laws Institute did a study across 4 states where they measured the effects of the laws of texting and driving before and after they were passed. The results were really interesting. In these 4 states, the number of accidents after the laws were passed, in fact, went up. They went up 1% in Washington to 9% in Missouri. Now, why is this? I stand here and ask myself, why is this? This is because, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot and should not regulate common sense. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not the red light that stops the car. It is us agreeing as individuals to obey the laws of the red light that stops the car. I remember in 2014, there were only 4 laboratory confirmed tests of Ebola. Remember that? And people were all up in arms about taking various precautionary measures, ban travel from South Africa, segregate people, do this, put screeners at the airport. But 6,000 people died because of texting and crashing, and we don't do nothing. We sit here and wait for the government to pass laws. Well, I think it's time to change. I think it's time that we took personal responsibility. I think it's time when we got in the car, we put that cell phone away. I think it's time that we acted as better role models for our children, for our nieces, for our nephews, for our younger generation, and teach them that texting and driving is not an activity that should be condoned. I think it is time that we acted as good peers to our colleagues, to our friends, to our spouses, and forbid them from texting and driving when we are with them. Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see in this world. And I think today we are going to pledge to be that change. Ladies and gentlemen, please take this pledge with me. Please repeat after me. I am going to help save lives.
I'm going to help save lives.
I'm not going to text and drive.
I'm not going to text and drive.
Thank you. Give yourself a big round of applause.